Supreme. So these were the main aspects of uh, person in Yoga Ruda stage. So he was satisfied by this thing, by the practice of devotional service or whatever yoga he is doing. He doesn't hanker for things. So now we'll go to 10th verse. Yes, Mohan Sakapru can recite 10th verse.
Yogi yujjita satatam.
Mohan Sakapru?
Yes, you are able to hear me. Hare
Shall I
Krishna.
recite?
Audio coming?
One second, we are able to hear you.
Okay, good.
Roji, you are able to hear us?
I think he उनका driver नहीं है speaker.
Yeah.
Yogi yujjita satatam.
Yogi yunjita satatam
आत्मनाम रहसि स्थितः.
atmanam rahasi sthitah
एकाकी यत चित्तात्मा.
ekaki yata chittatma
निराशीर अपरिग्रह.
nirashira parigrahah.
Translation: a transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in a relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in the secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desire and feelings of possessiveness. Purport: Krishna is realized in different degrees as a Brahman, Paramatma, and a Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna consciousness means consciously to be always engaged in a transcendental loving service of Lord. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman or the localized supersoul are also partially Krishna conscious. Because the impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna, and the supersoul is the all-pervading partial expression of Krishna. Thus, the impersonalist and the meditator are also indirectly Krishna conscious. A directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist because because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahman and Paramatma. His knowledge of absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and the meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits so that they may come to highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in a seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable condition that affects his realization. And in a perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. All these perfections are precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in a Krishna consciousness. Because direct Krishna consciousness means self-abnegation, wherein there is the very little chance for material possessions. Srila Rupa Goswami characterize Krishna consciousness in the way Anya.
Anasaktasya vishayam.
Yes, Broji, can you for me?
Huh?
Yatha
We are not able to hear.
अनासक्त्या विषयान् यथा रहम् उपयुज्यतः निर्बन्ध कृष्ण संबन्धे युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते प्रपञ्चितया बुद्ध्या हरि संबंधी वस्तुतः मुमुक्षुभिः paritagyo paragyam phalgu kathati. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accept everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of relationship to Krishna is not as complete in the renunciation. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 20, 225 to 56. A Krishna conscious person, well known that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in a favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental and he is always alone, having nothing to do with the personal, not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, person in Krishna consciousness is perfect yogi.
Yeah. So now, till last few verses, Krishna described about the symptoms of those who are in Yoga Rudha. Yoga Rudha means which stage? Those who are advanced in yoga. Okay. Now here, this verse, Krishna is telling what is the practice to be done in Yoga Rudha stage. So one must be Nirashi. Nirashi means what? Nirash. Nirashi means morose. Nirashi means free from all desires, material desires. Sometimes we use also this word. Nirash mat ho jao. So means hopeless. So, but that is negative hopelessness. This is positive hopelessness. Means one has given up all hopes of enjoyment in material world. That is Nirashi. So then also one should be free from possessiveness. Aparigraha. Aparigraha means not possessive. Not that this is mine, mera, 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 mera. Isn't it? Most of the things you see in the court are about parigraha, right? 90% of the things in the court are, especially domestic court, are what? Parigraha. Ki, mera veranda, mera ghar, mera bank balance, mera ye, mera wo, mera gaon, whatever. So many, but the person who is in Yoga Rudha stage, he has no sense of possessiveness. He just gives up all possessiveness. Then he also must be ekaki. Ekaki means alone. In a secluded place, rahasi. Ekaki rahasi. Ekaki means akele rehte ho. It is not that he can stay in city in the midst of Cannot Circus in Delhi. Cannot Circus is the most crowded place in Delhi, right? So he cannot sit there and do yoga. He cannot be yoga rude there. Or you can say, whatever, in Appa Bhavan Chowk in Pune. He cannot sit there and can say that I'll also practice yoga rude stage. That is not possible. He has to go in a secluded place in Himalayas somewhere. So like that. Because why it must be like that? Very simple as such. Why he has to be secluded?
Less distraction.
Less distraction. Because if there are so many people around, then what will happen? All the time somebody will disturb. Khana chahiye kya? Pani chahiye kya? Arey tum aisa kyun kar rahe ho? Like that, isn't it? So much distraction will happen. So that's why he should remain in secluded place. So he should not be even accompanied by his disciples also. Means at this stage, yogi, what he does, he even gives up his disciples. He says, now you manage yourself. And he goes alone. Because disciples also will keep on asking so many questions. Maharaj, aise kaise karne ka? Maharaj, ye problem ho gaya, wo problem ho gaya. How to advance, how to understand. So many questions they will keep on asking. So he has to, at this stage, actually yogi gives up his disciples also. He tells them, now you manage, I am pushing off. Somewhere else also Prabhupada writes about this, that at particular stage, the spiritual master, he can be detached from disciples. Once I had heard in some Raisha Pru's class, and he was giving some reference from Prabhupada's book, that at a certain point of time, a spiritual master, he just tells disciples, now you manage everything. And he becomes, secluded. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur did that, although he was not a Ashtanga yogi, but that is applicable. That he took also Babaji initiation at particular point of time, and then he detached from everyone, including disciples also. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur never did it. Neither our Srila Prabhupada ever did it. So because preaching had become so urgent that till last breath they had to fight. There is no retirement only for them. For both of them, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also and our Prabhupada also. There was no retirement at all. Till last moment they had to manage, they had to do, they had to be in the world still. Like that, because preaching was so much required. So in this way, in Prabhupada purport, Krishna's discussion he is bringing to the highest point by describing and then emphasizing bhakti. Because the topmost yoga practice means at the end of this chapter, who is the topmost yogi? Yogi nam api sarvesham mangatinant. Means one who is a devotee of the Lord, he is the topmost yogi. So Prabhupada, that's why, see, Prabhupada purports, one may think इसका वर्ष में क्या लिखा है? वर्ष में तो कुछ लिखा नहीं भक्ति का. Prabhupada कैसे भक्ति दे रहे purport? But you see, this is not the way. See, there are various ways of translation. One is that you just translate word to word and just give exactly what is there. That's it. So although Prabhupada has given the name Bhagavad Gita as it is, but as it is not it is not as it is in the terms of just literally terms. It is as it is in terms of the mood and mission of Supreme Lord, the desire of Supreme Lord. He has never twisted the words of Supreme Lord. So if you ask Chaitanya Charan, we will tell this. So one way of translation is this, that you just translate जैसा लिखा है उसको. Worst way of translation is that you translate according to your speculations. So that is very pathetic. One should not speculate. Okay, but then maybe honesty, one level of honesty means one just translate as it is. One does not interpret, but that is like neutral level. But Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, because he is a writer, he tells that the best way of translation is that one keeps the purpose of book in mind and then translates. That's called as, so that's why he says that Prabhupada did not do bhashantar, he did bhavantar. Bhashantar means as it is, just translate karo. Bhavantar means he understood the bhav of the Lord and is giving. Now here, although bhakti is not there, but at the end of this chapter, Krishna is going to tell who is the best yogi, who is devotee. Yogi नाम एक सर्वेशा श्रद्धावान भजते. भजन कौन कर रहा है? भगवान. Bhakta. Bhajate means bhakta, coming from same. So devotee is the best of the yogis. So Prabhupada is before only that conclusion. Prabhupada is, so according to conclusion, Prabhupada is giving purport. So we should not think that अरे भक्ति इधर कहाँ से घुसा रहे Prabhupada. अष्टांग योगा चल रहा है. अष्टांग कब से देख रहे, कर्म योगा हो या ज्ञान योगा हो, अष्टांग योगा, सब जगह पे Prabhupada भक्ति घुसाते रहते. So why Prabhupada is doing like this? We should not think like that, because this is bhavantar. That is most intelligent way of translating. By translating by keeping the essence in mind, the mood of the Lord in mind, and that's how that translation becomes most effective. Also, Prabhupada, another factor is also in translating is what? It's the practicality of it. What is the use of giving such big information कि ऐसा करना चाहिए, वैसा करना चाहिए, yogi should do like this and that, wherein nobody can practice it in modern age. So Prabhupada is giving what one can practice, and he is taking out those things and giving. So that's how the purport is. So and that's how in the purport Prabhupada is telling that how a bhakti yogi automatically practices all these principles. So basically, yoga practice, like any other science, it entails that one should follow the process that bears result if applied correctly. So in any scientific, you see in the chemistry, we follow the procedure, we get result, hopefully. But so that's what is called a scientific, right? That you have a theory, then do experiment, and then after experiment, your conclusion comes and it proves the theory. So same way, this is the process, this is the theory, now is the process. If one properly applies it, it will give the result. And then one may say, but sometimes you don't get result. So it is not that the process is wrong, because process has proven to be correct for so many people. But our application may be wrong in some way. So some way application somewhere may be wrong. That's why the result has not come. So so we have to cross check. We have to go back and again check where was my application wrong, what procedure, what part of the procedure made it wrong. Like in exams also, we solve some mathematical formulas, isn't it? In your engineering, you remember, you used to have big sometimes 2 पेज जाता था वो prove करो या कुछ तो sum आता था. What do you call problems? Used to solve mathematical equations and all you solve sometimes. M2 M3 में था वो. So sometimes the answer, we may think that, oh, everything I had written very well, but then if we cross check the answer, it was wrong. मैंने तो सब सही लिखा है. So the conclusion of that is not that maybe formula is wrong. Conclusion is what? मैंने बीच में कुछ तो गड़बड़ किया है, इसलिए आंसर गलत है. Then again we have to go back and check, and when they will find out, oh, इधर थोड़ा मिस्टेक हो गया है, इसकी वजह से पूरा आगे का ये हो गया. So same way, if we are not getting that result properly, means there is some problem in our application. So now this 10th verse, as Krishna is telling that one must be free from possessiveness and material desires to practice Ashtanga Yoga in secluded place. So Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport 3 degrees of realization: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. Prabhupada is telling. So this we all know. But Prabhupada is making a very striking statement here. Generally we see that Prabhupada, he always gives some nice pitai to impersonalists. But here Prabhupada is saying what? They are also partially Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is accommodating here them. That they are also partially Krishna conscious. Why? Because the vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnana vadvyoen brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdete. It is the 3 features of same absolute truth. So Brahman is not something different personality, and Paramatma is not some different. These are the 3 aspects of the same. So as we know that sun god, sun disk and sun rays, they all refer to one object only, but it's a partial realization of that. So same way, so Prabhupada is saying that even they are partially Krishna conscious, because at least they are thinking of the one aspect of the Lord, Brahman aspect at least, okay. So their consciousness has been elevated from material world like that. So Brahman is also spiritual ray of Krishna, and super soul is all pervading aspect of Krishna, and then personality is Bhagwan. So, and what is the instruction for all these 3 transcendentalists? They should constantly engage in their pursuits to become perfection sooner or later. Yunjita satatam. This is coming. Yunjita satatam means what? They should constantly engage. Ahaituki apratihata. Apratihata means without cessation. So akhanda, they say na akhanda harinam satta or whatever. Akhanda yajna. So similarly akhanda bhakti or akhanda yoga, whatever. So they do like that. So it should be done constantly. So as we were discussing somewhere yesterday, book reading or somewhere, that consistency, steadiness should be there. Year after year, one is chanting rounds, or one is devotee, one is practicing spiritual life. So that is consistency. So one should try to be consistent that way. Then, and based on that, there will be sooner or later some results will come. And then Prabhupada is saying that Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist. Why? Because he understands what is the main source of Brahman and Paramatma, both. So, yasmin vidhyate sarvam evam vidhyatam bhavati. If one knows Brahman, not necessarily one may know Bhagwan. And if one knows Paramatma, not necessarily one knows Bhagwan. But if somebody knows Bhagwan, he surely knows Brahman and Paramatma both, because it is included. Just like if one has a full knowledge of sun god, then automatically he will know where he stays. He stays in sun planet, Surya Loka, and what is his characteristic? He emits light, which is illuminating the whole universe, isn't it? So same way, if somebody knows that there is this thing, Supreme Lord, then one automatically knows everything. One knows energies of the Lord, one knows Brahman, one knows Paramatma, one knows expansions, one knows material world, one knows spiritual world, one knows about devotees, one knows about everything. That's the beauty of knowing of Supreme Lord. Yasmin Vidhyate Sarvameva Vidhyatam Bhavati. So this one you can remember. This is very important, this thing, because sometimes people may say, why are you just talking about Krishna, Krishna, Krishna all the time? Why don't you talk about Brahman? Why don't you talk about Paramatma? Why don't you talk about other different incarnations so much? You talk a lot about Krishna only. But this is the very important aphorism. What is that? Yasmin Vidhyate Sarvam Evam Vidhyatam Bhavati. Prabhupada often quotes this. So what is the first business of transcendentalist? To keep mind always in Krishna consciousness. So we see here again and again this one emphasis is coming. Engage mind in Krishna consciousness. So that is our biggest challenge at our stage, right? Generally now we may be able to engage senses, and physical body, but to engage mind in Krishna consciousness is really a challenge, right? But that's what is required. So that's what is required for us, that we have to practice it, try it. Further ahead Krishna will give some more tips, but this is the biggest challenge. Even myself also, I have to honestly admit that it's a really big challenge for me also. Sometimes we are, at least I can observe myself, that I'm able to externally, even while worshipping deities, so many different thoughts come, and mind is such that when you are doing one thing, the thought of another thing comes, and when you are doing that thing, the thought of other thing comes, right? Like if I'm doing deity worship, the thought of preaching comes. If I'm doing preaching, thought of अरे deity plate wash नहीं किया or deity worship नहीं हुआ, like that comes, or offering नहीं किया आज. So in this way, mind always wants some other alternative, isn't it? So that's why this is the biggest exercise. But one sense it is nice also, because for a Yodha, challenge is very nice. So this is a good challenge for a devotee to engage mind. So devotee cannot become bored, because he has always this challenge with him, how to engage mind in Lord's service, like that. So to keep mind always, that is the final business, first business of transcendentalist. So that is called as samadhi. Okay, so we will go to verse number 11 now. Now 11th verse onwards, Krishna is going to describe the basic practices of Ashtanga Yoga. Shucho Deshe Pratishthape and all that. What are the basic practices? Please recite.
Hare Krishna. Roji, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Suchau Deshe Pratisthapya
Shucho Deshe Pratishthape
Thiram Asanam Atmanam
Sthiramasanam
Nati Uchcharitam Nati Nicham
नातुनिश्चितं नातिनीतं
Shailajana Kushottaram
शैलार्जुनकुशोत्तरम्
Tatraikagram Manha Kritva Yata Chitendriya Kriya
यथा चितन्द्रिया
Upavisasane Yugnayad Yogam Atma Visuddhaya. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low, and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Purport. Sacred place refers to a places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Haridwar, and in solitude practice yoga where the sacred rivers like Yamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so-called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for actual practice of yoga. One who is not self-controlled and one whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Brihan Puran, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present Yuga or age, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual realization, always disturbed by various anxieties, and the best means of spiritual realization is the chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva ev gatir anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no way, no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way.
Yeah. So this is describing now the all conditions, preconditions, and how things should be, done in Ashtanga Yoga. So we will take next verse also, next set of verses, and then together we'll discuss because they are connected. So Ritesh Prabhu, you can read the next one.
Samam kayo siro grivam
Tamam kaya shiro grivam
Grivam
dharyanam achalam sthirah
dharayan achalam stiraha
samapreksha nasikagram swayam
tamapeksha nasigagram swam
dishaschana valokayan
yascha navarogayan
prasanna atma vigata bir
prashantatma vigatavir
brahmachari vrata stitah
brahmachari vrata stitaha
mana samyamya cha matchitto
Manaha
samyamya
Sayyam
cha machitto
yukta asita matparah.
asita matparaha.
One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Purport. The goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu, and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is a plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize the Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe the complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy written by the great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarvasthitasau sarvada sarvatra maithuna tyago brahmacharyam tachakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind at all circumstances, at all times, under all circumstances, and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood, when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to Gurukul, or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it is dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools do not even admit householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence from without compromise. In the Bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction, being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina raso varjam rasopiyasya param drishtva nivartate. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has information of that superior taste. Vigatabhi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully Krishna conscious. The conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam says, Vayam Dvishtha Sat Isat apeyatasya vipravya smrita. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearfulness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person.
Krishna consciousness is the basis of fearlessness, not fearfulness.
Sorry, Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so-called yoga societies.
Hmm. Yeah, so these are all things about yoga, how to do yoga. Hmm. So what modern people are teaching is only yoga asanas, but they are not teaching yoga. This is yoga. Yoga is like this, what it is showing. Hmm. So uh, yeah, so the aspiring yogi, he must live alone, free from fear and attachment. Hmm. So although he's alone, he should not be afraid. Generally, when we are alone, we are afraid, right? So that's very tough. Sometimes just imagine in your home you are alone. 1 day, 2 day, ठीक है. 10 days, 15 days you are alone. Very tough, right? We become immediately fearful. Or attachment is at least there. There is some attachments. People, we keep on remembering people. Arey, ye kidhar hai, wo kidhar hai, like that. But yogi, he must live alone and no fear and no attachments. Means he should not think about anybody else. That ye Prabhuji kidhar hai, wo kidhar hai, ye kidhar hai. Not like that. No attachment and no fear also of anything. Then he should sit still. Sit still means, don't move. Not apna chanting jaisa Hare Krishna, not that way. He has to just sit still. And he should not stand. Of course, some yogis do standing also. Then he should only stand. He cannot sit. सब नहीं करने का. ऐसा नहीं कि पैर दुख रहा है अभी बैठ जाते हैं. फिर अभी पैर दुख रहा है तो अभी खड़े हो जाते हैं. That is allowed only in bhakti yoga. Chanting. Here Ashtanga yoga में allowed नहीं है वो. And he cannot sleep also. Of course, in our bhakti yoga also we are not allowed. It is not that in bhakti we can chanting we can sleep, but there he cannot sleep at all. And he should focus his mind. Then he should sit on his own asana. So he should sit on his own asana. And what that asana should be made up of? Kushagras. You all know Kushagras? Kushagras you have seen, no? What is that?
Hair of Lord.
They are hairs of Lord Varahadev. So they are grown. And Kushagras. At least you know. I am happy to know that you know Kushagras. Some of us. Once I asked somebody Kushagras, तो ये वाला चटाई दिया उन्होंने. This is not Kusha, this is bamboo, which is there around us. We use Kushagras is a grass with different grass is there, and it is always used for sacrifices. So he should sit on his own asana. There cannot be common asana, not on others' asana. Also, he should use his own kamandalu, and he should use only his own clothes. He cannot use others' clothes. He cannot share others' bottles, water bottles. Okay. So modern kamandalu means water bottle, right? That is our kamandalu. Our devotees also always carry water bottle. So that is modern kamandalu. But they exchange. Sometimes they drink water from other kamandalu also. But yoga is strictly forbidden. Actually, that is not proper culture also. As far as possible, we should avoid using other things, because there is a subtle impact of a person. Of course, one can use great person's things, but not that can be circulated everywhere. Like one may worship great persons, like we may get the spiritual masters some cloth, or we may get some, like once Sundar Shampro gave me one box of Srila Prabhupada. I still have it in my locker there, which was used by Prabhupada. So we can keep like this and worship, and but because there is a positive influence of that person. So I don't know how much you can understand this or appreciate this, but it is a fact that whatever we do, our every thought, word, and action has got an effect on the ether, and it has got certain vibrations. Whether we accept or not, it is true. They are not visible, they are not perceivable, but that is there. So that's why we do go, and when we go to a holy place, what is the speciality over there? सब तो जमीन एक जैसा ही लिखता है, जमीन एक जैसा ही, उधर भी गटर है, इधर भी गटर है, उधर भी पेड़ है, इधर भी पेड़ है, उधर भी प्राणी है, इधर भी प्राणी है. क्या अलग क्या है? बिल्डिंग है. वृंदावन में कुछ अलग ऐसा? For an ordinary person, he may not see anything different over there, Vrindavan, Mayapur, but the thick ethereal vibrations are there, which are produced by the pastimes of Lord and his devotees, and of the bhajan of the devotees. So that's why those ethereal vibrations do affect. So we can perceive it, when we see the difference. Many people come, when they come to temple, they say, my God, when we come to temple, ऐसा लगता है कि इधर तो दूसरी जगत में आ गए. This is not devotees, these are non-devotees. Even means I have heard this from my own relatives also. Many relatives told me that आपके मंदिर में आते हैं ना, कुछ तो अलग ही लगता है, एकदम ऐसा satisfied लगता है एकदम इधर. सब ऐसा, सारे दुनिया के सारे प्रॉब्लम भूल जाते हैं, ऐसा लगता है. बोला माय गॉड, हमको कब लगेगा ऐसा? हमको लगता है कितना प्रॉब्लम. But they feel like that. On the other hand, if one goes to bar, one can feel it, the negative vibrations. So of course we don't go to bar ever, but or in some this thing, once upon a time, I remember in my college days, myself and Ajit Krishna Pro, this is before coming to Krishna consciousness, we went to this Katra Snake Park. My God, non-negative vibrations है उधर. I don't know how people still go there. Because that time we were not even in bhakti also, but we could still feel such disgust. It's एकदम ऐसा तमोगुणा का बहुत influence, because all snakes are in mode of ignorance, and they are kept so many snakes. Just go there, you see this snake. बाप रे, आके दोनों का हमारा इतना सर दर्द हो रहा था आने के बाद वापस. So you see, because those ethereal vibrations are there of the snakes, these are tamoguni vibrations. Similarly, bar and brothels, all there, we'll see that they're tamoguni vibrations. So now, not only this, they come in atmosphere, they come in the things we use also. So that's why, as far as possible, according to the standard of Brahminical standard, we should not use other things. That is not good. In fact, and what to speak of, eating others jhuta, that is considered to be worst of all. Like these Muslims have a custom that they all eat in same plate only, but that's not at all correct. So we cannot. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that remnants are in mode of ignorance. So remnants, food remnants also, but even other things we should not use as far as possible. So unless until there is emergency or something, but as much as possible we should avoid, especially personal things, like bedding, and certain things are like, not so intimately used by the person. Maybe charger is not so intimately used, only kept. So maybe that is one sense all right. We can take permission and use it. But when it comes to bottle, it is more intimately used. Sometimes we see that our lips touch, isn't it? Or our saliva falls on the bottle. So then it is like, we are using others, or plate of others. Hmm. So that's why in voice we have, now I don't know, in at least in homes, plates may not be there, personal plates may not be there, but actually traditionally in homes also personal plate used to be there. The particular plate belongs to particular person only. They didn't have to write the names, ICO लिखने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ता था, but they would have understanding that this is plate. I remember in my childhood also we had our fixed plate, means that was my plate only, and we would fight also sometimes if somebody else would take our plate. So that was not with this knowledge that but that is with ego, false ego कि मेरा plate लिया करके. But that is one says it is correct also, that we should not use other things, But in voice also we have voice yogas, we have our own plate. So plate is too much intimately used, and more than that, bedding, and this thing, cloths are extremely intimately used, right? We see that means practically clothes are on our body whole day, so we cannot give to others. It's too much, and sometimes we see in hostels people, they just wear other person's shirt and go, or they wear other person pant and go. Very dirty it is. And as far as possible, even bedding. So I think even in homes they have their own bedding, no? Everybody has his own chadar and bed, generally, at least. I don't know what is now, but that also has seen in traditional culture. Nobody generally takes others beddings and all. At least in my home I see that it is still being followed. Is when I go home also, if I make the beds for everyone, I have to ask which is mother's chadar, which is father's chadar, which is mother's pillow, which is father's pillow, and they say this is yours extra. Like that. So but so this is cleanliness standards, so same way, not using others things. So yogis also should follow. Burijanpur is writing here that they should not use others kamandalu, they should not use others asanas, they should use their own things only, like that. And then, can someone check okay, so about this is about sitting place, and then it should not be too high, not too low, and it should be sacred place and all that. So Prabhupada writes that many times different personalities, they go to different places, holy places, and they situate themselves over there and do their sadhana, like Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, Haridwar, such places. You can add Mayapur, Pandharpur, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, all these places also one can go. And so Prabhupada includes here devotees also. Devotees also go. So maybe, actually I always feel that our congregation devotees, they should somehow or other, at some point of time in their life, they should try to get some home, maybe some place of residence in Vrindavan, Mayapur, Vrindavan or Mayapur. It will be very nice, that, because whenever they want to go, they can stay there. If there are some holidays with their family, they can go and stay in that place very peacefully. So those who are householders, they can try, if they can take. Now Ramiya Madhusudanpur's father is very smart. He has taken one flat in Radhakund, one flat in Mayapur. दोनों जगह पे flat है उनके. So whenever he goes, sometimes he has free time, holidays, he takes leaves, 10-15 days he'll stay in Mayapur, and he'll have nice Krishna conscious experience. Every day they will go to temple, attend temple programs, render some services. So if they have their own place, they don't have anxiety also that अरे पैसा बढ़ रहा है अभी, I have to vacate, somebody else is coming, booking किया क्या नहीं किया. And it is favorable for spiritual practices that one can have, So you may inspire your parents. If they are planning to take some homes, sometimes parents may say Mumbai में लेते. You can say instead of Mumbai, let us take in Mayapur, or Vrindavan, like that, or maybe Dwarka or somewhere. It is very, very nice to have. And yeah, also these sacred rivers, and also these are all holy places where there are sacred rivers. So we'll see that generally in India only we have maximum holy places. I don't. There may be some holy places, other places also, but they are not very, really can be considered ideal as holy places. So majority we see that means we may say that Hajj is also holy place. Yeah, maybe, or whatever, Jerusalem, or whatever, Rome, Vatican City. These are all holy places. Makkah, Medina. Huh?
Devotees get Guru Maharaj's birthplace.
Birthplace is also holy place. That is there. So like that, there are many Western world also holy places are there. Because many of our ISKCON gurus are born in West also. So that is also holy place. Yeah. Yeah. And now by Prabhupada's mercy, there are a lot of holy places all over world. Isn't it? There are a lot of temples and even Namatta centers and even devotees' homes are holy places also. Like that. So Prabhupada's mercy, holy places are all over the world now. Correct. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj purposefully left his body in America to prove that it is not Prabhupada's every place Prabhupada has given is a holy place. Devotee doesn't necessarily have to be too much attached to just going to this dham only, but one can even any place where Prabhupada has built his temples and his communities, that is also holy place. He wanted to prove that. So, and as such, wherever devotees chanting the holy names of the Lord, that becomes holy place also. So, according to one purport in Bhagavatam, wherever Pandavas traveled, that are also holy places considered. Wherever Pandavas traveled. Then, according to another, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's traveling places are also holy places. Gaura Amar Jay Sabasthani, Karala Brahmana Rangi. So they are also holy places. Or wherever great souls have taken birth, they are also holy places. Like that. So one may go. But generally, these particular places which are more condensed holy places, because there we see that, especially why I said more Mayapur and Vrindavan, because we see that in our ISKCON temples are also very wonderfully vibrant places are there in that. And there are a lot of pastime places of the Lord. So we can say these are supreme of all holy places, Mayapur and Vrindavan. So that are most recommended. Fine. And then there is so 11th and 12th verse is describing about manner of sitting. 13th and 14th verse is describing about how to meditate. Okay. So Prabhupada is writing that big cities do not offer such circumstances. So for Ashtanga Yoga, holy place, sacred place is compulsory. One cannot just sit, as we were discussing before. So big cities are not sufficient. They are not suitable. So, and also one who is not self-controlled and disturbed in mind cannot practice meditation. One has to be self-controlled and undisturbed in mind. His mind has to be completely peaceful. Then only he can practice meditation. So that's why Prabhupada is saying from Hare Nama verse, he said that basically it is not possible. So better chant holy names. Because Tatrar Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. There is no rules and regulations. There is no circumstances, time, place, circumstances. One can chant anywhere. One may be sitting in a software company and chant also. Like many of you chant in your company. Of course, that is not the best place to chant. One should chant in home or voice yoga, whatever. But still, it is not forbidden to chant, in company, right? But you cannot do Ashtanga yoga in company. Not too high, not too low. What rotating chair? What place we can see? And Kusha grass kahan se layenge udhar? And there is no Shucho Deshe. It's all Ashuchi Deshe. Whole thing. So what bhakti can be practiced. So that's why Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, the best means of realization is chanting of the holy names. And then there is, in the next verse, there is talking about celibacy. So the rules of celibacy by Yajnavalkya. So what is the purpose of this celibacy? The purpose of these rules is that to abstain completely from sex indulgence in work, word and mind at all times, under all circumstances, in all places. My God. You understand this? Completely abstain sex indulgence in work, words, and mind at all times, under all circumstances, in all places. How many of us are able to follow this? In mind also, huh? At all times, in all circumstances. Very tough, right? So then those who are not, they are not qualified for Ashtanga Yoga. So we have to accept that I am not qualified for Ashtanga Yoga. But then Prabhupada, very, if we read this, my God, if we faint only. But then that's how Prabhupada explains further ahead. He says that rules of celibacy in bhakti is what? Strict celibacy means, so for Jnana and Dhyana schools, strict celibacy is required. But only in bhakti school, the conception of householder brahmachari is allowed. So if you go Shankara Sampradaya, first qualification is sannyas. Then आपका चालू होता है spiritual life. Without sannyas, there is no spiritual life, according to Shankaracharya. Spiritual life begins after sannyas, according to them. So, but in bhakti, it is not like that. So, bhakti, there are two types of celibacy. There is one can be Naishtika Brahmachari, wherein one completely abstains from sex life, and otherwise one can be a householder Brahmachari. Means one has only legal sex, restricted sex life, only for procreating children and only with one's wife. So that is also called as Brahmachari. So these are two types of Brahmacharis. One is, Naishtika Brahmachari, another one is Grasta Brahmachari. So both Brahmacharis can practice Bhakti Yoga. So that is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means it is accommodating everyone. Everybody can practice Bhakti Yoga. There is no bar. It is not that it is, but for this Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, not at all. One has to leave home, hearth, relatives, everything and go. Then only one can practice Ashtanga Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga, it is not like that. In fact, because Prabhupada says why it is so, because cult of Bhakti Yoga is so wonderful, it gives one higher taste by which one automatically doesn't too much hanker for sexual enjoyment. One engages in so many services are there, even for a householder. He has got a lot of services, he has got a lot of sadhana and spiritual practices to do. So he is not too much hankering for material enjoyment. And of course, for other ashrama, brahmachari ashrama, there is no opportunity also like that. So that is the beauty of bhakti. So because one gets higher taste, so one can overcome the lower taste in bhakti yoga. But for jnana and yoga, there is no higher taste. Only they have to get rid of lower taste. So it is very difficult. That's why all this is about giving up. You give up this, give up this, give up this, give up this. Whereas bhakti is about adding Krishna. So that's what is the beauty of bhakti yoga. That more we add Krishna, more Maya will go away from mind. But if you just try to drive away Maya from the mind, it is very difficult. Like that. Then also Vigata Bhir he is using. Vigata Bhir means divide of fear. So it is a very important quality of the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. Person should be fearless. So why Prabhupada says, what is the cause of fear? The cause of fear is perverted memory. It's forgetfulness of eternal relationship with Krishna. So why we are afraid? Because of forgetting Krishna as our protector. So that's why that song says, na, Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Vindare. So he's telling that please worship the lotus feet of Lord. His feet are called as Abhaya Charan. Means those feet, the shelter of those feet are what? Fearlessness. So when we think on a material platform, there is always reason for fear. But because material world, everything is temporary. And temporary things being freer, right? When there is change, when there is temporary, things are temporary, then there is fear. So what is general reason for fear for people? What is general reason for fear? Like you are saying that you are fearful of snakes. Why that fear is there? Death means what? I lose my body. right? Or
Attachment.
attachments to people. I may lose those attachments, so that's why there is fear. Attachment to things and attachment to people. Similarly, there is fear of losing job, maybe fear of losing our loved ones, or we may have fear of losing our own body or our possessions. But these are all on a material level. But when we understand ourselves as spirit souls and our identity as eternal, then there is no cause of fear. One can be completely fearless. So we see that there was one great devotee in Chaitanya Lila. His name was Saranga Murari. He was so fearless that sometimes he would slap on the cheeks of tigers, and he would say, "Chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna." He would say them. He was so fearless. Or we know about Bharat Maharaj also, right? What he would do? He would count the teeth, on the mouth of lion or tiger. He would play with tigers. He had like tigers. This is not our Rishabdev's son Bharat Maharaj. This is Dushyanta, son of Dushyanta Bharat Maharaj. That Bharat. Then there was so this Sarang Murari also would sit on the back of crocodiles and would slap them. And he would say that, chant Hare Krishna. So why they are able to be so? Because they are totally on spiritual platform. They have no fear. Because they understand that, this is, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went, all, ferocious animals were there, tiger and all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just patted them. Just like one pats the cow. One doesn't feel fearful of cow generally, right? Of course, nowadays city people feel fearful of cow also because they don't know how to handle it. But generally, person who knows, they are not fearful because they know cow cannot kill me. They cannot do anything, right? But then, one is fearful of tigers because there is a sense of temporariness, a sense of sense of loss gives us fear. But on the eternal platform, when we understand that I am spirit soul, my identity is part and parcel of Lord, and the shelter of Lord is eternal, then there is no cause of fear. That's why he's telling Abhay Charanara Vindare, Bhaja Hure Mana Srinandananda Abhay Charana. So Bhayam Dvitiyat Abhinivesha Tasyat. So भय किसकी वजह से आता है? अभिनिवेश की वजह से आता है. Abhinivesh means, what do you mean by Abhinivesh? Abhinivesh means absorption. In what? Matter. Absorption in matter gives rise to fear. To a degree one is absorbed in matter, to that degree one will be fearful. But when one is, situated on the spiritual platform, then there is fearlessness. So Krishna consciousness, that's why Prabhupada says this is the only platform of basis of fearlessness, like that. And that's why Prabhupada again reiterates that Krishna conscious person is the best of all yogis, because he's always fearless, like that. So I think our time is up for today. Okay.
So you were telling that we should not use personal things. When we go to temple, we find that we have to eat in common plates, and many times those people, they also come to temple, those who eat non-veg, and they also take in prasad in that same plates.
Yeah, he's asking, in temple we have to eat in common plates. What to do? What to do? There is no solution. You carry your otherwise. That's why you see some of our brahmacharis these days, they carry dabba. एक अपना डब्बा रहता है सबका. जिधर भी जाते हैं डब्बा एकदम पोर्टेबल भी है. जिधर भी जाते हैं यात्रा में भी अपना डब्बा लेके जाते हो.
यात्रा still they
So there is no other solution. Otherwise, we can have our own plate if you want. We can bring. At least that's why I said that as far as possible we should try to follow. At least we can follow, in a place where the facility is there, our own plate is there. We can follow. But temple there is no option. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll stop for today. Next week we'll start with 15th verse. So we covered 5 verses today. 10, 11, 13, 14. 5 verses are over. Yeah, this will go faster because they are all more or less techniques. But Prabhupada is drawing out a lot of Krishna conscious lessons from there also. Okay. Jai. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Jai Shri.
Jai. Thank you so much. Rajesh.
Prabhupada Ji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Please approach the common name and Jiva Goswami also. So please pray to them that we become sincere in our devotional service. So Jiva Goswami is Acharya for scriptures, especially. He has written 4 lakh verses. Jiva Goswami alone has written 4 lakh verses. Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Means how many times Bhagavatam? 8 times. 10 times Bhagavatam. 10 times. 10 times?
20 times.
20 times.
More than 20. Rocks.
Yeah. More than 20 times.
Vyasdev was one.
Vyasdev has written 1 lakh into 1 lakh verses.
1 lakh square.
1 lakh square verses. 1 lakh into 1 lakh. 1 lakh verses. So Jiva Goswami is considered to be the topmost scholar. It is said that till now, never such scholar came like Jiva Goswami. He is the na bhuto na bhavishyati type scholar. Nobody can ever challenge Jiva Goswami, and his teachings are like so. That's why in BHU you will find that there is one separate department of Jiva Goswami. And just physics, chemistry, वैसा Jiva Goswami department. In that means among philosophy also एक अलग department. Because that is so much extensively he has written. And his Sandarbhas, the best of his work is Sandarbhas. Chat Sandarbhas, where he has clarified so many. If you read Sandarbhas, all the doubts which we come in Bhagavatam and all get clarified very nicely. And yet he was so humble and so menial. You know, Jiva Goswami, for so many years, his only service was to clean the kutir of Rupa Goswami and to collect leaves for palm leaves for Rupa Goswami to write. So that's what he did for years together, and never asked that, "Arey, I am big scholar, Baba. When are you going to tell me to write also? When are you going to tell me to give your books for me to edit?" Nothing. Just kept on serving. And then after being pleased with him, Rupa Goswami then gave him that, okay, you edit. Then he gave this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for Jiva Goswami to edit. And then eventually other books also. Then Jiva Goswami wrote his own books also. He was blessed by them. So which are the deities of Jiva Goswami? Radha Damodar, old temple. So it's a very beautiful temple. It is the spiritual center of the whole universe. It is considered Radha Damodar temple. And then especially that was time of Goswamis, that was also the headquarter of all the Goswamis. So all the Goswamis would assemble together in Radha Damodar temple and they would have discussion. That's why that place is also there, where they would wash their hands and feet. And Rupa Goswami left his body in Radha Damodar. And these Radha Damodar deities are personally carved by Rupa Goswami and given to Jiva Goswami as a gift. Personally carved. So we can imagine the fortune and how much he loved Jiva Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was small, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Once only, it seems. Ramkeli. That's it. That time he was a boy. His father, along with his father, he went. Anupam's son. Nityanand Prabhu personally took him. Navadvip Parikrama. First Yatra. Our Gaudi Sampradaya. That was taken by Nityanand Prabhu. And the attendee was Jiva Goswami. Yeah. And in fact, Radha Damodar, this Damodar, he would play flute for Jiva Goswami many times. This Jiva Goswami, if at all, he would sometimes he would not usually take rest. But if at all, sometimes he would take rest in the night, he would hear the flute of Radha Damodar. And Lord would say, "Oh Jiva, get up. For you, I am playing this flute. For your pleasure." Like that. So, very great personality. So, Jiva Goswami Pad, Srila Prabhupada. He is also called as Prabhupada. Jiva Goswami is also. Chalo, Hari Hari. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.